Hello everyone, we are starting our one word substitution, and these all are about 100 words with the letter A, and this all data is from the book Blackbook.
So, abattoir means a place where animals are slaughtered for the food. A man who is the head of a or monastery, the word for it is abbot. A shortened form of a word or a phrase, the word for it is abbreviation. To formally give up a throne or the high office, one word is abdication. Next is your departure from what is normal or expected, that is your asamanya, that is aberration. Inspiring, disgust, and loathing, repugnant. घृणास्पद बात, that is your abhorrent. Next word is abject, completely without pride or dignity. नीच, उसको हम बोलेंगे abject. Then to formally put an end to a system or a practice, that is your abolish. The original inhabitants of a country, यानी कि मूल निवासी, aborigines. To shorten a piece of writing without losing the sense, किसी चीज़ को शॉर्ट में बता देना, that is your abridge. Next, to repeal or to do away with a law or formal agreement, basically. रद्द करना, उसको हम बोलेंगे abrogate. Difficult to understand or obscure, that is your abstruse. Difficult to understand, abstruse. Widely unreasonable or illogical or inappropriate, that is your absurd. An award or a privilege granted as a special honor, accolade. A person who helps another commit a crime, that is your sahapradi, which is called accomplice. A person who keeps or inspects financial accounts is your accountant, you already know it. The study of sound and sound waves is acoustics. To accept something reluctantly but without protest, acquiescence. Acquiescence. To free someone from a criminal charge, that is acquit. Next is your acrimonious, angry and bitter, a word formed from the initial letters of other words, acronym. Extreme or irrational fear of heights, acrophobia. Sharpness or severity, that is your acuteness. A proverb or a short statement of truth, adage. Refusing to be persuaded or to change one's mind, that is adamant. A person who is physically dependent on a substance, addict. A period between childhood and adulthood, adolescence. Legally taking another's children and bringing it up one as one's own, god lena, that is adoption. Deep love and respect, adoration. Excessive admiration or praise, chaplacy, adulation. Sexual relations between a married person and someone as adultery. One's opponent in a contest, conflict or dispute, adversary. A person who publicly supports a cause, advocate. Operating or happening in the air, aerial. Principles concerned with nature, appreciation of the beauty, aesthetics. Friendly, good natured or easy to talk to, affable. A written statement conferred by oath, affidavit. Next, a list of items to be discussed at a meeting agenda. To make a problem or injury worse, aggravate. Next, a person or country that attacks first, that is your aggressor. To campaign or arouse public concern, agitate. Agnosticism, believe that nothing can be known about God. Science of soil management and crop production, agronomy. Next is your alliance paid to a wife or a husband after legal separation, alimony. A story that reveals a hidden moral meaning, allegory. Repetition of the same letter or sound at the start of words, alliteration. Then an annual calendar containing important dates and facts, almanac, जिसको तुम पंचांग बोलते हो. Someone who works for the welfare of others, altruist. One who does something for pleasure, not money, amateur. A diplomat sent by a state to a foreign country, it is your ambassador. Able to use both hands with equal case, ambidextrous. Both ease, that is ambidextrous. Having more than one possible meaning is ambiguous. Having mixed or contradictory feelings, ambivalent. To walk at a slow or relaxed pace, amble. To make something better, ameliorate. Open and responsive to suggestion, amenable. A friendly relationship, amity. A partial or total loss of the memory, amnesia. An official pardon for political offences, amnesty. Without a clearly defined shape or form, amorphous. Animals living both on land and water, amphibians. Then amphitheater, a circular building without a roof and a central space. That is your amphitheater. A person who has had a limb removed, amputee. Next, something out of its proper, anachronism. Amputee, a person who has had a limb removed. Anachronism, something out of its proper. Amphitheater, circular building without a roof and a central space. Animals living both on land and in water, amphibians. Without a clearly defined shape, amorphous. A official pardon for political offences, amnesty. Then a partial or total loss of the memory, amnesia. A friendly relationship, amity. Open and responsive to suggestion, amenable. To make something better, ameliorate. To walk at a slower relaxed pace, amble. Having mixed or contradictory feelings, ambivalent. Having more than one possible meaning, that is ambiguous. Able to use both hands with equal ease, ambidextrous. A diplomat sent by a state to a foreign country, ambassador. A one who does something for pleasure, not money, that is amateur. Someone who works for the welfare of others, altruist. An annual calendar containing important dates and defects, almanac. The repetition of the same letter or sound at the start of the words, alliteration. A story that reveals a hidden moral meaning, allegory. Alliance paid to a wife or husband after legal separation, alimony. Science of soil management and crop production, agronomy. Believe that nothing can be known about God, agnosticism. To campaign or arouse public concern, agitate. A person or country that attacks first, aggressor. To make a problem or injury worse, aggravate. A list of items to be discussed at a meeting, agenda. A written statement confirmed by oath, affidavit. Friendly or good natured or easy to talk to, affable. Principle concerned with nature and appreciation of beauty, aesthetics, operating or happening in the air, aerial. A person who publicly supports a cause, advocate. One's opponent in a constant or conflict, adversary, adultery, basically the sexual relations between a married person and someone else. Excessive admiration or praise, adulation. Deep love and respect, adoration. Legally taking another's child and bringing it up as one's own, that is adoption, the period between the childhood and the adulthood, adolescence. A person who is physically dependent on a substance addict, refusing to be persuaded or to change one's mind, adamant. A proverb or short statement of the truth, adage. Then sharpness or the severity, that is acuteness, extreme or irrational fear, heights, acrophobia, a word formed from the initial letters of other words, acronym. Angry or bitter, acrimonious. So next is your anagram, a word formed by rearranging the letters of another, that is your anagram. The inability to feel pain, analgesia, a state of disorder due to lack of authority, anarchy, the study of the structure of living things, anatomy, a person who represents a TV or radio program anchor, a short amusing story about a real student anecdote, instrument for measuring the wind speed is your anemometer, loss of sensation or the feeling, anesthesia, a person who admires England or British culture is anglophile, severe mental or physical pain or suffering, that is anguish, to bring to life, animate, that strong hostility or the hatred is basically animosity, to destroy utterly, annihilate, early return of the date of an event, anniversary, yearly date, add notes to giving explanation is annotate, occurring once every year, annual, a fixed sum of money paid to someone each year, annuity, to declare invalid, annual, something that deviates from what is normal, anomaly, a person whose name is not known, anonymous, a person who opposes someone, antagonist, a thing that existed before or logically precede, antecedent, a medicine to counteract a poison, antidote, a strong feeling of dislike, antipathy, a person who studies or collects antiques, antiquarian, a substance that prevents the infection is your antiseptic, a person or thing that is the direct opposite, antithesis, a word opposite in meaning to another, antonym, a policy of racial segregation in South Africa, apartheid, lack of interest, enthusiasm or concern, apathy, loss of ability to understand or express speech, aphasia. A place where bees are kept, apiary, a practice of keeping bees, apiculture, describing the total destruction of the word, apocalyptic, a regretful acknowledgement of an offense, apology, a person who abandons their religion or the principle, apostate, a vigorous and pioneering advocate of a cause, apostle, causing shock or dismay, horrific, appalling, action of pacifying someone by acceding to demand, that is your appeasement. Next, an act of accessing someone, something or someone, that is appraisal. A person learning a trade from a skilled employer, apprentice. A glass tank where fish are kept, aquarium. Growing or living in or near water, aquatic. Land suitable for growing the crops, that is arable. A person appointed to settle a dispute, arbitrator. A study of the human history through excavation, archaeology.
A group of island archipelago. A person who designs building, it is your architect. A place where historical archives. A place where historical records are kept, that is archives. Having little or no reign, arid. Government by the highest social class, aristocracy, an agreement made by opposing sides in a war to stop fighting, armistice. A distinctive or typically pleasant smell, aroma, a place where weapons and ammunition are stored, arsenal. A person who sets fire to property, arsonist. Able to speak fluently and coherently, that is articulate. An object made by a human being, artifact. A worker in a skilled trade, artisan. A person who leads a life of strict self discipline, ascetic. Free from contamination caused by bacteria, aseptic. A condition arising when the body is deprived of oxygen, that is asphyxia. Showing great care and perseverance, assiduous. Study of the movements of planets to predict the future, astrology. Scientific study of stars and planets, astronomy. Protection granted to a political refugee, asylum. A person who does not believe in God, atheist. Able to be heard, audible. Group of listeners or the spectators, audience. Official inspection of accounts, audit. The part of a building where the audience sits, auditorium. Life story of a person written by himself, autobiography. Government by one person with absolute power, autocracy. Examination of a dead body, autopsy. Having an extreme greed for wealth, avaricious. A place where birds are kept, aviary. A statement which is accepted as true, axiom.